happening?
Did your power go out, Burk? What's going on over there?
Hello, friends. No, it's
What was that?
darkness.
Oh, we had some darkness. Oh,
Yeah, I'm trying to go for a theme.
Yeah, Burk lives on the edge of town, so he's a big.
I didn't even
everything.
think of that. How stupid.
Yeah.
Damn it. Burke's always so
Yeah,
smart.
he's very smart. He's very clever. Yeah.
So it's the
I just
podcast
broke
of
everything in my
darkness.
podcast of darkness.
Well, if darkness is in the title of a movie, it kind of piques my interest because we're going into that realm,
Always.
which could be, creepy or, something interesting, something old school. If you're talking about scary movies, darkness is
Right.
forever,
Prince of Darkness.
Yeah,
one of my favorites. But this one's called House of Darkness, and it's directed by
House
Neil LaBute.
Darkness. I'm so there. Okay, I'm sorry. I walked over.
Oh, I
your
like
title
haunted house movies, and it
Yes,
sounds like this
haunted
is maybe a
house.
haunted house, maybe.
It's got darkness. It's a house.
Yeah.
And Neil LaBute's an interesting director in
Yep.
the company of men. He did the remake of The Wicker Man. He's done some other things, a lot of TV stuff. So he's an accomplished playwright also. So you have the guy that's making this has got some credibility. So that's interesting. And Justin Long is somebody we really like.
Yeah.
And
Love him.
And he can go between comedy and horror really easily, and he's a good director. And Kate Bosworth is also in this, who is a really good actress. So it sounds interesting. Before we get into seeing the trailer for this, let's not forget to mention our beautiful, wonderful membership club. Yep. $2.99, you get those first yellow ones, all of that. And for $4.99, you get that one at the bottom, the member request video. And regardless, you can go on our Slack channel, which is really sort of hopping with lots of interesting fun, quips back and forth between Kathy.
You get more direct conversation with all the people who enjoy this channel and us and our girls, Elizabeth and Lara, and you get to talk to everyone. So come on in.
Yeah. It's well worth
join us.
And we've been told by some people in there, you guys need to talk about the Slack channel more because it's so cool. I'm like, okay, we'll talk about it more.
Yeah, we'll do that. So anyway, the Slack channel, all that good stuff. So think about joining $2.99 or $4.99.
Yeah, anyway. The ad's over now.
Yes. Now we're going to talk about House of Darkness. And let's take a look at this trailer. It's coming out September 9th. So it's coming out soon.
House of Darkness. Okay.
Just in time for Halloween.
Yeah.
All right.
Our house was a house of darkness a couple days ago when the power went out. It was pretty bad.
We get a lot of darkness
heat
too.
Wave. Yeah.
Bummer.
All right. Ready to roll?
Yep.
And action.
How about we tell each other stories?
I'm just not very good at telling stories.
Oh, come on. I love stories.
All right. This guy.
Right. I already like this.
Amazing girl.
I know. I like it.
She doesn't have a ride.
I'm happy to.
They drive back to her place, this mansion in the woods.
We have several of these estates. Does that make sense?
You're rich. And then they kiss. They've never kissed before.
You could do anything you want to do me. Make me disappear.
What do you mean?
You're married, so you...
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
What's that? Is somebody here?
Not that I know of. Let's play a game.
I don't want to play a game.
Let's play. Lucy, hello.
I thought this was just two of us.
You still don't understand what's going on, do you?
Understand what? Oh my God. I'm tired. I'm gonna go home.
No, you're not.
Is that how it ends?
Who said anything about ending?
Looks interesting. Looks like it's a very contained kind of a thriller. Like it all takes place inside that house.
Yep.
That house of darkness. And
the house was very dark. There were only candles.
Yeah.
No electricity.
You get what you pay for with this movie. You want a House of Darkness? It's got one, and it looks like it's got a great cat. I mean, I love Justin Long and her, you know, Kate Bosworth. They're both engaging actors, so it's like you can watch them in a House of Darkness for
You can watch
a
these
long
actors in
period
the
of
dark.
time. I think they can handle it. I really don't know. I mean, it says it's a reboot retelling of Bram Stoker's Dracula, but I don't know. I didn't really see it. I guess you know, she's a vampire, and she lured him into her house to turn him into a vampire. And
or is she like the familiar who lures them to Dracula?
Maybe
is
there's
she like
a Dracula hiding under the couch or something.
Well, that third person comes in. Who is that third person?
Lucy, who's
the actor?
I don't know.
Oh boy,
we gotta know who that is. We gotta figure that one out.
But it's interesting. There's been so many
Gia
adaptations
Cravatin.
of Bram Stoker's Dracula, of that story. I mean, the story, you know, Jonathan goes to the house in Transylvania and meets, you know, Dracula, and then Dracula comes to overseas, and because he falls in love with Jonathan's girlfriend. You know, it's like this classic story that you've seen it a million times, but then nobody's ever really done a straight. It's like with Frankenstein, the book, you know, they always adapt it. They always take the original stuff and update it or change it or mess with it somehow. The closest one, I think, was Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula. But this one looks like it's pretty far away from the original book.
Well, I kind of like the modernization of, first of all, making it a man who's going to be the victim, which is an inverse of what it usually is. It's usually a woman who's being taken Dracula, you know, as a man. But I like that the woman's luring him in, and I love, you know, Justin Long's so great at the everyman. Like, he's very appealing. He looks like he would be smart, but he's not going to be threatening or overwhelming to anyone. So you feel like you could relate to him and being in a situation where you're kind of helpless. So I really like that. I mean, I love where he's like, "That's it, I'm going home," and they're like, "Are you?" And it's kind of like, "Oh shit." So I think that's believable that he wouldn't be able to just storm out and get away from them or overpower them. You know, It seems like that would be, and also you can see them kind of like tempting him and kind of like, oh, it's a little bit dangerous, and he's kind of like, this is kind of hot though, and you can just tell he's thinking, okay, this probably isn't a great situation, but I'm going to go with it because she's so hot, and you know, I'm going to try it out because I love the idea of like, is there anyone here? She's like, not that I know of, and he's like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, we're in this massive house. There could be someone in here. That's really creepy. You know, I just love that idea. So I like the fact there's two women luring him in there, and
because Draculas have that power, you know, they can like, come to me, Elvira or Vampira, you know, and they can magically kind of hypnotize people, you know. In the early Dracula movies, the people were like, you know, zombified by his powers, but the idea seems like it's always been translated in films to be this sort of sexual seduction kind of thing.
Definitely.
Like Dracula is always played by a guy who's so good looking that women can't, you know, they can't turn him away. He's not, you can't resist this guy's charisma and his good looks. And in this one, she's this beautiful woman, and she lives in a castle, and he's like, wow, you're really rich, and you know, you like me.
Well, I think too, like, you know, I think men sometimes feel like women are kind of hypnotizing them just by her being so incredible and basically playing into everything he wants. You know, she's able to kind of discern what he's looking for, and she's able to kind of like just entrance him in a way, put him in a trance just from sheer like sexual magnetism, which I think is how it works with a lot of men who are just out the singles bar looking around. Hey, she looks good. I kind of like that it's not necessarily magical.
It's interesting that they put in the portrayal or reimagining of Bram Stoker's Dracula. I mean, there's a lot of vampire movies that never talk about that, you know, Bram Stoker's Dracula. So there has to be some connection to the original novel, but I don't get that. I've read the book. I don't get it from the trailer. So I just find that kind of intriguing.
Well, it might be that the trailer isn't showing it. Like Kathy was saying, maybe these are just the first part of it. Maybe there really is a Dracula upstairs waiting for a victim, because that's what happened with, in the original story, Jonathan Harker was the first victim.
Right,
He gets
right.
basically lured into Dracula's castle in Transylvania, and the three women sort of hypnotize him into staying, and then Dracula does whatever. I think he bites him in the neck and drinks his blood. But
So that could be, the trailer could be the first 20 minutes of the film, it kind of could be that, as opposed to the whole movie being that relationship between him, just the whole night.
But there's already a Lucy in there. So it's like, because I was thinking, is Justin Long, when she says, "Are you married?" and he says, "Not at the moment," maybe he's like talking about like, at this moment, I'm pretending like I'm not married, but he's actually married. And he's married to some woman that Dracula upstairs is in love with, and is using these women to lure him in so that he can kill him and turn him into an undead blood source. And then he's going to move in on Justin Long's wife.
Interesting.
I would be more intrigued that there's not another man involved. I'd be more intrigued that it's a woman who's the main Dracula, because that would be the invert that would make it interesting, because otherwise you're like, then it just plays into directly in Dracula, and who knows. But I do kind of like, it almost looks like not a home invasion, but looks like he's going into the basement. It looks like it's going to be some kind of torture thing, but they're still keeping it kind of light and almost comical in a weird way, this weird dark comedy kind of feel to it.
That came out more as it played out. At first it sounded like they were setting up a kind of an anthology movie, like an old Amicus kind of, like, oh, let me tell you a story, and that just sounds like there's going to be like, we're going to go into one of the horror stories, but
right.
The creep show kind of thing. But
it's also kind of thing.
It looks like a basic seduction by a vampire kind of thing, where she lures him to the house and turns him into or tries to turn him into a vampire from the trailer.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
It all seems obvious to everyone except him what's happening.
Right.
He obviously is up to no good.
Has he never seen a horror film?
Come on, dude.
I think he has, though. But like, oh my God, I pick up this gorgeous woman. She takes me back to her incredible.
You're just going to take the shot.
This is like, holy cow! Of course, this is my lucky
I've
night.
hit the jackpot. She's
Maybe
rich,
extremely
gorgeous.
wealthy people are just weird,
Yeah, and they are.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's something. It's intriguing. I think it's wet our whistle. So, House of Darkness coming very soon, and it looks like a Cinemondo movie to me.
It does.
It does. Yeah.
Justin Long in a horror movie, I'm going to watch it no matter what it is.
The cast is enough. Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, it totally is. It looks really fun, and I like the sort of small aspect of it, like small cast, one location. I just love those kind of movies.
Right.
Contained within the House of Darkness. Yeah,
exactly. It is the House of Darkness. That's all we're going to see, besides a car. Looks like. All right.
The less lights you have on set, the more money you save. So.
See.
Good production notes.
I can see a producer saying, "House of Darkness. It takes place in a dark house. Cool. I'll fund that." Yeah.
All right. So we use very little electricity on this movie.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
everybody. It's always fun.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you soon.